Welcome back into NFL in a Flash here on Sports Radio, WNML.com with Joel Silverberg. I'm Eric Kane, and Joel, wildcard weekend is in the books. The AFC side, the Colts and the Chargers advance. On the NFC side, it was the Cowboys and the Eagles that came back in a dramatic fashion there. First, let's go Colts, Texans, and Chargers and Ravens. What stood out to you on the AFC side of last weekend's games?
I think really it was Andrew Luck and the Colts offense being able to come out and be so dominant early on and put that game out of reach. And the Texans are reeling at home. And so those two teams played 3 times this year. The home team won every matchup. So I thought that was really impressive. Andrew Luck has shown that this team can compete against just about anybody. And the Chiefs better be ready for that Indianapolis team coming into Arrowhead Stadium this weekend.
Look at the Ravens and the Chargers. It was the day game on Sunday. And I don't know if you were like me, but I was sitting on my couch, and the Ravens offense struggled so much the first 3 quarters. And I'm like, man, you got a healthy quarterback that's won you a Super Bowl just sitting there in Joe Flacco. If you were John Harbaugh, would you have made that move?
I don't think so, because the mid-game adjustment and the mid-game substitution, I don't think wins Baltimore the game. I think I wondered if maybe earlier in the game, if something had come up, if things had gotten worse, then you could have considered making that decision. But the game plan really was more of a lack of execution. I thought that if you change things up with what you would have allowed Lamar Jackson to do, then I think that could have affected the outcome in a different way potentially. But I don't know if Flacco necessarily goes in and gets the win. I think Flacco's a great quarterback. He's obviously had a lot of playoff success throughout his entire career. But for Lamar Jackson, I think just a rough first 3 quarters. And by the time they got things going, it was too little too late.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson did rebound through 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns to Michael Crabtree and had a chance to actually come back and win on the final drive, but a nice defensive strip sack by the Chargers sealed that one there. Okay, so Colts, they are going to travel to the Chiefs, and the Chargers will travel to the Patriots. Any upsets in the divisional round?
I think there's a really good chance the Colts can go in and beat the Chiefs, especially with the Chiefs, what they've been historically as a playoff team. Now, Andy Reid's always really good coming off a bye week. Yeah. So you've got a lot of things going for you there. They've had time to prepare, but this is a really, really good Colts team. And Andrew Luck might terrorize that Kansas City defense. Now, what does Pat Mahomes do to Indianapolis? It could be a high-scoring game, but I do think that the Colts probably have the better chance to pull off the upset. The Patriots are undefeated at home this season. They've had a week off to get everything right. The Chargers are scrappy. Phillip Rivers has still never beaten Tom Brady, so for Rivers to do that, it's going to be a tall task, especially in Foxborough during the playoffs. So I give the Colts the better lower seed as the chance to pull off the upset in the AFC.
Look at the NFC side. It was the Seahawks that a little injury plague lost their kicker midway through that contest. They fell in Jerry's role to Dallas, and then it was Philadelphia coming from behind and then holding on with Cody Parkey's missed field goal that was actually changed to a blocked field goal. The Eagles advanced. What stood out to you on the NFC side?
I think just the way that the Cowboys were able to consistently execute against Seattle. I mean, that was a Seattle team that didn't play as well as it had in the previous 3 weeks, and that the Cowboys, a lot of people thought to them as being the home team that could suffer the upset, and instead they managed to hang on and find a way to win. So I didn't like the way that the officials got involved with 4 really major calls and 2 of the last 3 drives going against Seattle. And I know a couple of those calls you got to make. I thought the second pass interference call was just a matter of 2 guys getting tangled up. And the officials didn't decide the outcome of the game, but again, Jason Garrett, he has 2 playoff wins in his career as Dallas' head coach, and officials have had a very late impact on both of them. So I think Dallas is a good team, and they could surprise some people, but I also just think the way that Chicago's defense played the entire game, and then to be able to just to give up that late touchdown against Nick Foles, again, it is Foles magic. Apparently it is real, but that's a huge
It is real.
It's a huge win for Philadelphia.
Yeah, and also the officials played a huge role in Dallas's loss at Green Bay, and I believe it was 2014 with the Dez catch no catch ordeal. So
well, in that game, the Cowboys advanced to that game because their win before was the no call pass interference. They throw the flag, then they pick up the flag, and then the league comes out and says no, that should have been at least defensive holding. The Lions should have been able to hang on to the football, because then Dallas goes out. So Dallas fans always forget about this. They throw, oh, we got robbed against Green Bay. You shouldn't even been against Green Bay because Detroit got robbed against you. So I just, it's a double standard here. But yeah, so officials played a big role in the entire NFC postseason in 2014. But yeah, I think we saw a little bit of it the other night. Really tough challenge for Dallas this weekend, though, having to go up against the Saints.
Yeah, so Dallas is going up against I believe
the Rams.
Dallas going against the Rams, the 2 seed, and then
Saints getting the Eagles again.
And then the Philly, they're going to take on against the Saints. So in that matchup, you mentioned Foles magic, and something about like every city has one. Nick Foles is that to Philadelphia. Carson Wentz, a fantastic player, but whenever Foles has to come in for injury, he just somehow, some way finds a way to win. Can you? And what I think would be the unlikeliest upset, do you give Philly a chance at all?
Yeah, I do, just because of how composed Foles seems to be. Now, the offense is going to have to produce more than it did against Chicago because this could be a high-scoring affair. Philadelphia has a huge chip on its shoulder going in, not just because it's the 6th seed. Remember what New Orleans did to this team when they played in the regular season. A, it was a blowout. B, they're throwing touchdown passes late in the fourth quarter. They're sending Alvin Kamara as a wideout and throwing him touchdown passes down the sideline. You don't think that frustrates Philly fans? You don't think that Philadelphia Eagles players remember that? So I would expect a much more competitive game this time around. Saints are the favorite, obviously. They're playing at home. I don't believe Sean Payton has ever lost in New Orleans during his postseason career with the Saints. I would expect the Saints to get the win. Philly's going to make this much more competitive this time around.
Playmaker of the weekend each and every week. This week, for me, we're going to head to Houston. It was Indianapolis' running back, Marlon Mack, 148 rushing yards on 24 carries, a touchdown. Joel, Marlon Mack has really come on midway through the season and carried it on. Really have been a huge focal point in that offense kind of the second half of the year. But Marlon Mack, a big, big day in the wildcard weekend. What about you?
Yeah, I would go with Golden Tate, just being able to make that catch. Nick Foles obviously deserves a ton of credit for the pass, but the situation, 4th and goal, and you're throwing up essentially a 50-50 ball. You're trying to throw that out route pass along the goal line in really tight man coverage, and the pass has to be precise. But for Golden Tate to be able to make that catch is huge for Philadelphia. And not to mention, when you look at the midseason trade, him coming from Detroit and then kind of went quiet a couple of weeks despite coming in off a bye week and Philadelphia looking like they were going to be down and out. For him to be able to make that catch kind of justifies the trade, and it makes it look like a really smart move on the Philadelphia front office staff. So Golden Tate's my pick just because of the late 4th down play. I thought that was a big win for Philadelphia.
And Dallas getting Amari Cooper, he really came on in the second half of the season, and they do have a playoff win, and he had a big part of it. So first-round pick, looks like it was the right move so far as well. But divisional round is on the horizon. Wildcard weekend is in the rear view. With Joel Silverberg, I'm Eric Kane. We'll be back next week to wrap it all up again here on NFL in a Flash, Sports Radio, WNML.